Now, preview time. So let's take a look at what's coming your way.
Ho, ho, ho! Merry Christmas! 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 ho, ho! Merry Christmas! Ho, ho, ho! Merry Christmas!
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another brand new installment of Renegades Reviews, exclusively here as always on the Casa D18 Studios channel. I, of course, am your host, the Renegade JJ Williams, and it's Wednesday. We're about halfway through the week. Happy Thanksgiving Eve, and today we're going to discuss the Sandra Bullock film 2 Weeks Notice, starring Hugh Grant, Sandra Bullock, Alicia Witt, Dana Ivey, Robert Klein, Francie Swift, Donald Trump, Nora Jones, and Mike Piazza. What's going on, everybody? Thank you for joining me here once again for another brand new installment of Renegades Reviews. And as I said in the introduction, it's halfway through the week. It's Wednesday, happy hump day, happy Thanksgiving Eve. And we're going to discuss today's film, 2 Weeks Notice. And as our movie opens, we meet Lucy Kelson, an intelligent, highly competent liberal lawyer who specializes in historic preservation, environmental law, and pro bono cases in New York City, as well as George Wade, an arrogant, needy billionaire real estate developer and stylish, womanizing playboy who is also quite naive. Lucy's hard work and devotion to others contrasts sharply with George's childish recklessness and greed. Lucy ends up meeting George in an attempt to stop the destruction of the Coney Island Community Center from her childhood. When George discovers that Lucy graduated from the prestigious Harvard Law School, he offers to hire her in order to replace his old chief counsel, overlooking their very opposing views of real estate development. Lucy decides that the benefits that George offers for discretionary funding for community causes far outweigh the negatives, especially as he promises to protect the community center. Lucy soon discovers, however, that what George really requires is advice in all aspects of his life. She regretfully ends up becoming his indispensable assistant and ends up calling her for every little thing at all hours of the day. While at a friend's wedding, Lucy's cell phone loudly rings and disrupts the proceedings before she responds and has to urgently leave. When she discovers that the emergency is that he needs her advice on his attire for an important event, she gives him her 2 weeks' notice. Lucy begins to look for work at other firms, but everyone tells her no because George has called in advance, asking them not to hire her so that he can keep her on staff. Eventually, he gives in and she offers to help him find a replacement, but is unaware of how close and interdependent they have become on each other. They act like an old married couple at a restaurant, able to simultaneously carry out a conversation while involuntarily exchanging food out of habit from knowing each other's food preferences. When potential interviewee June Carver shows up without an appointment seeking the position, Lucy speaks to her but is concerned that June lacks real estate experience. However, when George sees June, he is immediately attracted to her and is ready to hire her on the spot, completely disregarding Lucy's concerns. Now, rather than look the other way and let her soon to be former boss deal with the foolishness of his sexist hiring practices, Lucy instead becomes increasingly concerned and competitive with her replacement. When George begins to invite June to business social events that formerly would just be between George and Lucy, Lucy increasingly perceives the business events to be more like dates and is surprised that June is intruding on them. Lucy discovers that despite George's promise, the community center is scheduled to be knocked down and challenges him on his apparent betrayal. She arrives at his hotel in order to confront him and finds June and George in his apartment in lingerie during a game of strip chess. George confronts her the next day, which is her last day, and Lucy reminds him that he promised her to spare the community center. Lucy leaves after George accuses her of being a saint, making everyone else look bad because they are humans who make mistakes. After she is gone, George realizes that his time with her has demonstrated that he needs to change. Meanwhile, in her new job, Lucy finds that she misses George. He goes out in search of her and tells her that he has decided to keep his promise to her. Lucy initially rebuffs him, but then returns and they finally declare their feelings for each other, with George revealing that he resigned. We then learn that George and Lucy were married at the Coney Island Community Center, attended by family and friends, as our movie comes to its end. I thought this was a really good, fun, romantic comedy. It was a nice little romp through New York. It was your standard chick flick formula. Boy meets girl, boy and girl fall for each other. There's a misunderstanding. The two separate. Boy and girl get back together, live happily ever after. All those elements are definitely here. But something about the way that Hugh Grant and Sandra Bullock played off each other that just really made this fun. This is your more typical Sandra Bullock fare. You think of her love stories, her rom coms. It's very much cookie cutter, unfortunately. But the addition of Hugh Grant, I think, really brought things up a bit to the next level, as opposed to like While You Were Sleeping with Bill Pullman, which we discussed a week or so ago. And if you missed that, I'll link that one up here for you to go back and check back out. But it was just a really fun, simple story. The two polar opposites that should not come together, that should not be attracted to each other, that find their way to each other. It's a tale as old as time, a song as old as rhyme, as they say in the wonderful world of Disney. But maybe it's the Coney Island element that really appealed to me. I've never been to Coney Island in New York, unfortunately, but I know how legendary Coney Island is. So that could have been a small factor of it for me. The cameos were awesome. Mike Piazza, Donald Trump. I know Donald Trump's a very polarizing individual these days, but you've got to look at it in context of the time. Wasn't near as polarizing back then. We're talking, this is pre The Apprentice, even, I think. And The Apprentice is what really put Donald in everyone's television screens on a regular basis. And people decided whether they loved him or hated him. Pretty much up until that point, he was just a business mogul who kind of played his role, popped up here and there in things, Home Alone 2, Lost in New York, he had a brief cameo in, and we'll be getting to that next month, as I'm sure you've seen in the trailers when we do our Christmas movies. But seeing him pop up in this for the brief moment that he was in was really fun. He did his part well, kind of threatening Hugh Grant's character to take Sandra Bullock away from him to have her come and work for him. Just very, very playful banter out of the 45th President of the United States. It was enjoyable. When it comes to my rating for 2 weeks' notice, I'm going to give this one 3 out of 5 stars. It's definitely not up there for me in rom-com land or even Sandra Bullock land, but it's good enough that I'd put it at like the middle of the pack here. It's not bad. It's not great. It's just kind of there. This is the second time I've seen this film. Would I watch it again? Yeah, absolutely. If the feeling hit me, the urge hit me, I'd give it another watch. It's not so bad that I'd be like, oh no, never again. Let me just push it all the way off to the side here. But it's probably not the first one I would go to if I was going to watch a Sandra Bullock film either, if any of that makes sense. What do you guys think of 2 weeks' notice? Let me know. If you're watching the premiere, leave your thoughts and comments over here. If you're watching on demand later in the day, leave your thoughts and comments down here. Let's have that conversation, that debate, that discussion, that interaction in the comments below that I'm always asking for you guys to engage me in. And make sure you guys tune in tomorrow, right here on the Casa D18 Studios channel, for another brand new installment of Renegades Reviews. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, it is Thanksgiving Day tomorrow, which means we begin to kick off the holiday season. And I discuss the first chapter of the Santa Clauses, entitled Good to Ho, starring Tim Allen, Elizabeth Mitchell, Cal Penn, Rupali Red, Devin Bright, Austin Kane, and Elizabeth Allen Dick. You're not going to want to miss out on that right here on the Casa D18 Studios channel, right here on an all-new episode of Renegades Reviews. We're going to start off the holiday season, if you will, with the first episode of the Santa Clauses. As a lot of you may know, Disney Plus dropped 2 episodes last week to kind of kick it off, but we're not going to do 2 episodes tomorrow. Tomorrow's Thanksgiving. If I'm being completely honest, very few of you guys are going to tune in for the premiere tomorrow anyways, because you're going to be with your families. So I expect a lot of traction the following day on demand once the day is over for everybody. That's why we're just doing the one. There's only 6 episodes as it is. We don't want to hotshot it and give you 2 of them in a row either. We want to make sure this spreads out so they can go from Thanksgiving to Christmas, more or less. But make sure you guys tune into that, as well as all the content that's going to be coming in the next week and a half and month on the Casa D18 Studios channel as we wrap up 2022 and get prepared for 2023. So with that being said, make sure you smash that like button. Make sure you're subscribed. Make sure that notification bell is turned on. That way you don't miss out anytime a video drops right here on the Casa D18 Studios channel, or anytime we go live, as is the case with the Stat Boy Sports Bar and Open Mic Night and pay-per-view PLE coverage, etc. Share my videos with your family, friends, loved ones. coworkers, cinephiles, movie fanatics, anybody that you can think of that would enjoy this content in this video, share it with them. Fans of Sandra Bullock, fans of Hugh Grant, fans of Donald Trump and Mike Piazza, anybody you can think of that would enjoy this video, get it out to them. It's the only way we're going to boost my visibility in YouTube's algorithms so I can eventually get monetized, make some money on this endeavor. Thank you once again to everyone who joined me and tuned in today. It means more to me than you'll ever know. And I will see you guys next time.